Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime Local News. 2 more people who tested positive for COVID-19 in Saskatchewan have died. Both were in our Northwest zone in the 80-plus age group. Our zone has the 3rd most active cases in the province, behind only Saskatoon and Regina. There are 147 new cases, including 24 in the Northwest. 2,369 cases are active, with 355 of those in our zone. 202 people are in hospital, with 19 in the Northwest, including 2 of those in intensive care in our zone. More than 35,000 people have been given the first dose of the vaccine. And the 4 A&W locations in Lloydminster have partnered with the charity Meal Share to help end youth hunger. Jace Mackey has more on how the partnership hopes to help kids in need in our community.
I'm joined today on Primetime Local News with Mona Pinder. She is a community leader for Meal Share. Thanks for taking some time to talk with me today.
Thank you for having me.
So today, Meal Share announced on Monday a new partnership with A&W. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But first of all, for people who might not know exactly what Meal Share is, can you just tell me a little bit about it?
Absolutely. So we are a not-for-profit organization, and we work with restaurants with the goal to end youth hunger. So how we do that is we partner with local restaurants, and those restaurants brand an item or 2 on their menu as a meal share item. Every time one of their customers orders that and enjoys that meal, a meal is shared with a youth in need through either an international charity partner or a local charity partner.
And so today, a new partnership was announced with A&W, as I mentioned earlier. So can you just tell me a little bit more about that partnership?
Yeah, we're very excited about that. So we happen across Canada, but mainly in larger centers. With A&W, we bring 1,000 new restaurants to our partnership, including in many smaller communities. So they are starting today, and every Monday will be a Meal Share Monday, and the cheddar bacon Uncle Burger combo will be their meal share item.
And all 4 locations for A&W here in Lloydminster are going to be taking part. Can you just talk a little bit more about what organization locally is going to be supported through Meal Share?
Yeah, so the Salvation Army Food Bank in Lloydminster will be receiving a lot of the funds in Lloydminster. So how it works is about 80% of the funds stay local, 20% go to provide meals internationally. Those local funds are given to the food bank to help support their purchase of food and any of the other programming that they do to help with hunger and to support families and their children.
And I know I saw earlier on in the year, Meal Share had a partnership with another business here in Lloydminster, and because of the pandemic, things had to change. But how exciting is it to be able to have a new partner on and be able to support people here in Lloydminster, but also across the country with a national chain?
Yeah, it's a huge thing for us. We know that hunger is not just an issue in large centers. So A&W has such presence in the rural areas of Canada. So we've added 300 partner charities, mostly in smaller communities. So that makes us really excited because we can really have a bigger impact. We're hoping to share over 1.25 million meals over the next year across Canada with the A&W partnership.
So for people who are interested in learning more about Meal Share, where can they find some more information?
The best place is just to go to our website, mealshare.ca. It talks all about our organization, and also there's a link to specifically the A&W partnership.
And is there anything else that you want to add that we didn't get to touch on yet?
No, I just want to thank all the guests that are going out there and have a great dinner and support the kids in their community and help us create a world where youth hunger is not an issue anymore.
Well, Mona, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us today.
Thanks so much.
Another year of Craft Hockeyville is underway, and one Saskatchewan town has announced their bid. Our Becca Day speaks with an organizer of the campaign and learns why Wilkie may be the next Craft Hockeyville.
To discuss Wilkie's bid for Craft Hockeyville, I'm here with Helen Urlacher, a campaign co-organizer. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
So to start, do you mind just telling us what Craft Hockeyville is?
Well, Craft Hockeyville's actually been doing a competition Canada-wide for 15 years. I think it's $8.6 million in prizes to towns across Canada they've handed out so far. So to enter Craft Hockeyville, it starts January 1st. You make a nomination for your town and give them the reasons why your town should be Craft Hockeyville. And so from January 1st to February 14th this year in 2021 is our rally period. This is where we get everybody to go on the computer, type up nominations, send in pictures, videos, notes of support. The more nominations, the more pictures, the more videos, more points for people to qualify to get on to the next, I call it the second intermission, to the top 4.
Perfect. And the money that the team wins, so it goes towards like a hockey center in the town?
The grand prize is $250,000 in arena upgrades for your town. And they also throw in a preseason NHL hockey game as well.
So why has Wilkie started a campaign?
Well, we actually started in 2017. That was our first year ever going in. Kathy Hellman and I, we didn't really know what we were doing, but we just went for it and ended up making the top 10 in 2017. We didn't go any further, but we still received $25,000 for upgrades in our arena. And so we sat out in 2018, but we swung our support to Fernie, BC that year. And in 2019, we said, okay, let's try this again. So we went for it again and made it into the top 4. And Renos, New Brunswick won the 2019 Craft Hockey Bill, and Wilkie got a donation of $25,000. Now, after the announcement, Brett Wilson from Dragon's Den and a former North Battleford resident, he tweeted out that he was going to support Wilkie, even though we didn't win. He threw in $25,000 for Wilkie's upgrades and challenged others to do the same. And a gentleman by name of Scott Nelson from Lloydminster, Nelson Homes, he matched Brett Wilson's $25,000 donation as well. There were a few smaller donations as well too. Wilkie ended up with $75,000 after our 2019 Hockeyville competition for upgrades for our arena. Now, 2020 came, the pandemic hit. We had hockey and stuff, but our ice plant decided that it was going to start giving us troubles and stuff. And we had a fire in 2015. Our facility is beautiful, but our inner workings need more work and more upgrading. And so Kathy Hellman and I talked, and we figured, well, third time's a charm, right? So here we are in 2021, giving her all we got.
Well, that's incredible to hear of the support like across the country that you received after 2019.
I mean, Hockeyville brings not only the communities together, but provinces together and other communities together. It's such a great competition. It raises the spirits when there is none. I mean, we've been in a dark stage for over a year now, almost a year now, and it's time to shine a bright light on Wilkie, Saskatchewan, and get everybody out of this slump.
This would be the first time a community in Saskatchewan would hold the Craft Hockeyville title. What would that mean to you?
Wow, that would not only put a feather in Wilkie's hat, but in the province of Saskatchewan's hat too.
And how can people support Wilkie's campaign?
Well, you can go to www.crafthockeyville.ca, go to Find My Arena, go type in Wilkie, and then you'll have to register your email. And if you'd like to leave a note of support saying, go Wilkie, go, you can do that. Share our rally page with your friends, encourage people to throw in a nomination. If you want to put in a nomination, and everyone's allowed to upload 5 pictures per email. And the best thing is you don't have to live in Wilkie to nominate Wilkie or to support Wilkie. Anyone from anywhere in Canada can throw their support to Wilkie, Saskatchewan.
Thank you so much for taking the time, Helen. I appreciate it.
It is time now for today's retrospect. Here's Blake Nath.
This week in retrospect. Back in '96, Lloydminster Comprehensive High School students learned to surf the World Wide Web.
The internet has been available through the Lloyd Comp Library since last February. Students can sign out a laptop computer and use it to surf the net in the library or at home. Interest in the computers has been high.
We actually have quite a bit of use on the internet. There's about 3 or 4 students per day, most days, coming in to use the internet. And sometimes it's for school research, sometimes just for their own personal interest.
The internet became a part of the CIT class curriculum this fall. Students are learning how to browse the various sites and how to access information. The internet is seen as the way of the future, and the ability to use it may help these students to get a job.
The internet absolutely isn't going to stay around. It's a vital source of information for students as they continue on in their life, and also for adults and for any other business, if you want to call it, to be successful in the future. It's going to be the communications highway, as it's been often referred to as, for the future.
And in 2001, Alberta Premier Ralph Klein visits the border city to discuss energy prices.
Our Albertans are not alone in this. You know, this is happening around North America.
And Ralph Klein says the province is doing what it can to help with the situation. In anticipation of an election call, PC party members gathered in Wainwright to hear the Premier's predictions for the future and what is being done about energy prices in the short term. Earlier this week, the Klein government announced another round of rebates that will bring gas bill savings to $150 a month between January and April. After that time, though, questions remain.
I wish I knew the answer. I don't know. But we are looking, and we will continue to look at what we do to provide a long-term solution.
Klein suggests one solution might be a shielding program that caps consumer costs if energy prices continue to skyrocket. As for Lloydminster residents east of the border stuck with ATCO gas, the Premier suggests the Saskatchewan government might want to help out.
And that's all for this week in retrospect.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webb's Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webb's Ford in Vermilion.
Now our Connor Chan will take a first look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks a lot, Jasmine. Looking right now, -10 right now, not too cold. We're going to start to see a little bit colder temperatures throughout the week, so this could be one of the last few days we see a little bit nicer temperatures, at least for the time being. We are expecting some snow in the area over the next several days here, mainly in the up north areas where Cold Lake is under, where the northern areas are under a snowfall warning right now, along with some areas in northern Saskatchewan as well. But as we take a look at some other temperatures right now in the area, -11 in Marwayne, Vermilion, -12 in St. Paul, -14 up in Lac La Biche, -9 for Bonnyville, -10 for Cold Lake, -9s also in Wainwright and in Edmonton as well. -9s also we see there in Maidstone, North Battleford, and we see -8s across the board up there in St. Walburg, Meadow Lake, Green Lake, and -9 there in Isle of Cross, and fairly warm in Macklin at -2 degrees. Look at the satellite radar map right now. Not a whole lot's going to happen for right now. It's going to be mostly overnight tonight going into tomorrow for the area where we are going to start to see a lot more snow coming in. As I did mention, of course, those northern areas are in a snowfall warning. -11 overnight as we look ahead into the regional temperatures there. -11 overnight for North Battleford with a little bit of clearer skies. Going into -6 tomorrow throughout the day with the cloud coverage kind of increasing a little bit there. -10 overnight in Cold Lake. We'll see that results as well for tomorrow, but with a look at some snow there, the possibility of seeing up to 20 centimeters of snow is expected for those northern areas here in our region. And as we look ahead for us here in Lloydminster, -10 overnight, and we could see some of those flurries ourselves, but not to the extent that we could see what the not to the extent to what the northern areas are going to see. We are going to have a chance of some snow though heading into the next 3 days there. As we look ahead to Wednesday at -18, there is a possibility we could see some snow there starting that day as well, carrying over from the Tuesday. The wind chill feels a little bit more like -33, and I wasn't lying when I said it is going to be a lot colder this week. And -27 the low there on Thursday morning there, and -19 on Thursday is the high, but it'll feel more like -33 with that wind chill. That is a first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after this.
Welcome back. For a fifth year in a row, Lakeland College has been honored as one of Alberta's top 70 employers for its benefits, culture, and retirement opportunities, along with only 5 other post-secondary institutions in Alberta. Our Shelby Clark talks to Lakeland College for more.
Joining us for Primetime Local News today is Dr. Alice Wainwright Stewart, the president and CEO of Lakeland College. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks.
Now, Lakeland College is being honored as one of Alberta's top 70 employers for a 5th consecutive year. How does it feel to be able to receive this again?
I feel very proud of the Lakeland College family and really honored to identify with those who are really trying to create a workplace that provides the employees what they need to ensure that they do their job in an efficient, competent, but also a fun way.
And for people that may not know, what exactly is Alberta's top 70 employers that institutions are being recognized for?
Sure. What it is they really look at the institution in terms of a few ways. They look at the health benefit plans, they look at a family-friendly culture, they look at a retirement planning opportunities are some of the reasons why they've selected Lakeland College. And then if you look at it in terms of, they really try to evaluate the institution in terms of what's the physical workplace like? What's the work atmosphere? What about the social, the health, the financial, and family benefits that are available? What's the vacation? How do they offer vacation and time off? How does the institution communicate with its employees? What's the performance management procedure they use, and how is that distributed throughout the organization? What about the training and skills development that they provide, as well as community involvement? All of these factors contribute to how they judge and what they look at when they're deciding which organizations are awarded such an award. So we really feel honored that our holistic approach to culture and how we've treated our employees is really being noticed.
And can you expand a bit more on what Lakeland College offers that you believe is being recognized for this?
Well, I know specific reasons this year that they really looked at is that we have a health benefit plan. And in that health benefit plan, we allocate $800 per year, and it's a wellness spending account. And it really helps encourage our staff to take care of themselves in a proactive manner and really look at holistic. We also ensure that they have 10 paid sick days a year, which is again a way of ensuring that they look after themselves. A healthy employee, one who's really looks after himself in terms of a holistic approach, always provides the atmosphere and can do the job in a better way. So we really try to promote that. We also try to cultivate a very family-friendly culture. We have maternity leave top-ups where new mothers can go for there's an option for an extended period of leave. We also have try to make it easy for them returning. We have a child care center on site. We have paid personal days off that really help to balance the family commitment, and that's up to 12 days annually. There's one other one that I think is worth mentioning, and it's really try to help our Lakeland family prepare for the future. And really, we did define the benefit pension plan and the retirement planning assistance, and it just is another way to help them prepare for the future.
And how inspiring is it to know that Lakeland College is one of only 5 post-secondary institutions in Alberta to be recognized?
It feels really great. And I have to say, we have a team. I've been at the college for many years, and I can't say enough about our team and how they really try to look at our Lakeland family as a family and try to ensure that our people are taken care of in that way. And again, with COVID and what's happened this year, I mean, everybody has stepped up the plate, and all we can do is make sure that we ensure that we have a culture that really promotes the opportunity for our employees to grow, develop, and feel like they are a part of an atmosphere that is welcoming and will help them as they develop into their future.
Well, I just want to say congratulations on being recognized for this for a 5th consecutive year. That's very impressive. And thank you so much for joining me today.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Now here are your stock market prices for today.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
This past Friday, the baseball world was shaken when the Colorado Rockies traded all-star third baseman Nolan Arenado to the St. Louis Cardinals. Evan Kenny and Eric Bay have more on how this changes the look of baseball's future.
Well, as of late, there has been some huge news coming out of the MLB. Joining me today to break this down is Eric Bay. Eric, thanks for taking this time.
Yeah, a bit of a wild offseason here so far, especially for the team in the North.
For sure, the Toronto Blue Jays have made a couple huge signings. Marcus Semien coming in as of late, 1 year, $18 million for his contract. And of course, George Springer is the other big free agent coming to Toronto. But just on Friday, some even bigger news around the MLB as Nolan Arenado was traded from the Colorado Rockies to the St. Louis Cardinals. And Eric, this really shifts around things when you look at the National League here. So we thought we would do a little bit of a fun thing today, and we're going to decide who we think will win the 2023 World Series here. So I guess, Eric, just starting things off, why don't you give us your first pick to who you think will win in the future?
Yeah, obviously, as you mentioned there, the St. Louis Cardinals making a bit of a shakeup, but I still don't think it puts them in major contention here in 3 years' time. And for me, it's probably a very popular pick amongst most baseball fans. That is the San Diego Padres. Obviously, look at Fernando Tatis. What is not to love there? And he's so young, only going to get better here in 3 years' time. And along with that young core, they have some very solid pitching up front. Obviously, Mike Clevenger, Dinelson Lamet, and now they have also added Blake Snell. And in 3 years' time, the oldest of those three is only going to be 33 years old. So they should still have some prime pitching here in a few years' time, along with these young up-and-comers on offense. Manny Machado also still in his prime. So looking like a very solid team. The only issue is they are obviously going to still have to contend with the Los Angeles Dodgers in their own division.
Yeah, Eric, that is the point that I think hurts them the most. On paper, they are looking like an absolutely stacked team. Even just, before getting to that 2023 World Series championship, they have Yu Darvish, who I know is getting older with age, but he'll provide some much-needed experience for that team. Like you said, it's a ton of young players, a ton of guys who are, just a handful of years off their rookie season. So to have a guy like Yu Darvish, who has sort of been there and done that in your lineup, that's huge for them. Now, with my first pick, I am going to go with the St. Louis Cardinals. And, for one sole reason, Eric, can you name me a better first base, third base combo than Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado?
Not off the top of my head, no.
I don't think many people could. That one reason there is just a huge factor that pushes them over the edge. Obviously, the Cardinals are good year in, year out, always going for that NL Central title there. But now, not only do you have Paul Goldschmidt, who they had last year, who has 3 Gold Gloves and 4 Silver Slugger awards, but now you have Nolan Arenado, who's gone 8 for 8, 8 Gold Gloves and 4 Silver Slugger awards. Plus, they have a young rotation and young bullpen that I think will be able to grow behind guys like Adam Wainwright there. Eric, you want to go on with your next pick here?
Yeah, for sure. It's a team we named here right off the top, and that's got to be the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, is there a better, younger hitting lineup that you would ever want in the MLB right now? I don't think so. I mean, Vladdy Guerrero Jr. obviously has been up and down so far, but Teoscar Hernandez really came up last season. Cavan Biggio, Bo Bichette, these guys just don't strike out, which is amazing for such young hitters. And then, as you mentioned, those acquisitions off the top, Marcus Semien will help defensively in the middle infield, and George Springer with his leadership, he's going to be around now for the next 6 years. So I think that is huge to kind of guide these young up-and-comers, because George Springer has been there before with what was a very young Astros team and led them to a World Series. The only concern for me is their pitching, because after Hyun-Jin Ryu, there isn't really much there in the starting role. Nate Pearson is obviously a very big prospect, but they are going to have to find some pitching to supplement this awesome offense.
Yeah, pitching will definitely be the point that they are struggling at, but who knows, there's still a couple of off seasons, could be some possibly big free agent acquisitions or something along those lines. But a point that I want to bring up, all these young bats in the lineup, all those guys you mentioned before their most recent signings are currently way, way, way under the age of 30 and will be in that 2023 season. So they'll be young and just going into their prime as that comes around. Now, Eric, for my final team here, I'm going to go with the team who was really close to doing it last year. They lost in the NLCS, and that's the Atlanta Braves. I mean, just looking at how young their lineup, some of their studs there in Ronald Acuna Jr. And Mike Soroka, each of them are just barely coming off of their rookie seasons, where Acuna Jr. won Rookie of the Year, and Soroka was finished 6th place for the Cy Young Award. Plus, just to add on to that, Freddie Freeman, obviously coming off of his MVP season, will still only be just above 30 years old. This is a young team who really has a lot to prove, and I think they can achieve that.
Yeah, you mentioned Freddie Freeman. He'll only be 34 in 3 years' time. That is going to be huge, because he'll still be competitive and at the very least provide some very good leadership. And then you mentioned their rotation. Obviously, Mike Soroka was a stud before he got hurt last season. Max Fried really came on last year, and actually kind of their strength throughout the postseason was the rotation, and that's without Mike Soroka. So you keep that going forward and add a few more bats here on the offensive side of the ball. They're looking like a very good team here in the NL East for years to come.
Now, Eric, obviously this is a handful of years away, so this will be difficult, but hopefully we can look back on this day and say one of us got these picks right.
Yeah, I'm not too confident, but the proof is here, so let's get it.
Eric, thanks for taking this time and joining me.
Now our Connor Chan will take another look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks a lot, Jasmine. Taking a look here, still sitting around that -10 mark. Most of the area here, it's been pretty warm for the most part. As we see in a little bit here, it's going to get a lot colder over the coming days. We're going to see wind chills probably around that Wednesday mark, around -33. But right now, -10 is what we see here in Lloydminster, as well as in Cold Lake, -9 in Athabasca, Edmonton, 0 degrees there for Jasper and Rocky Mountain House, -4 in Whitecourt, with -6 degrees in Red Deer, -9 in North Battleford, -6 in Saskatoon, -8 for Prince Albert and Meadow Lake, as well as -7 for Melfort. I do need to mention that, of course, there is still that snowfall warning still in effect right now for those northern areas up in Cold Lake and in Bonnyville, as well as we see some areas as well in northern Saskatchewan. Laloche, one of those places, as well as Isle La Crosse, are going to possibly see some heavy snow over the next little bit here. -10 though for Laloche, Buffalo Narrows, and Uranium City. -7 in La Ronge right now. -8 for South End and Flin Flon. -11 up in Stony Rapids, and -9 in Wollaston Lake. We could see some snow also on the Alberta side here, continuing on there as we get to the further northern areas. -9 in Fort McMurray, -9 also for Slave Lake. A little bit colder in High Level at -19 right now. -11 there for Grand Prairie, and -14 for Peace River. Now, as we take a look here into southern Alberta and Saskatchewan here, we're minuses. We're in the pluses here in those areas there in southern Alberta. 13 degrees in Lethbridge, 10 in Medicine Hat. There is a winter storm warning though for Banff and Jasper areas right now. So 3 degrees out in Banff, 6 in Calgary, -9 for Coronation, and 10 degrees there in Medicine Hat. Take a look here at southern Saskatchewan, also fairly warm for the most part. 2 degrees there for Moose Jaw, 3 degrees there for Swift Current, -2 in Kindersley, -8 in Yorkton, and then -5 in Estevan. Now, as we look ahead across the country here, we start to see some similar temperatures as what we're seeing here. -6 in Winnipeg with some cloud coverage as that's continuing on out east. -6 in Toronto, -5 in Quebec City, a little bit warmer in the St. John's and Halifax areas at -3 with that continued cloud coverage. 7 degrees in Vancouver, -20 up in Yellowknife right now. And then we also see that -20 also in Whitehorse with some flurries continuing on. Now for us here tomorrow, as we take a look here throughout the day, we could see possibly a chance of some -10 degree temperatures again once it's here. My computer seems to be a little bit froze up right now, but we are expecting some snow continuing on over the next little bit here, and that could carry over into Wednesday, Thursday. We are seeing a little bit of snow possibly throughout the day there, but we're not going to see as cold temperatures starting. It's going to start mostly Thursday, where we are going to see, or actually Wednesday, excuse me, as we start to see the wind chill get up to that -33 temperatures. We apologize for the technical difficulties. We're going to go right to commercial break. We'll be right back with more primetime local news.
I'm joined here today with Cheryl Holtby with Holtby Professional Counseling. Now, with COVID in this past year that we've experienced, this has obviously taken a toll on our mental health, but how have you seen this affect teens?
Yeah, the teens have really been hit hard. They are social beasts. They love being social. They love being with their friends. They, a lot of them really express themselves physically. So a lot of the physical activities. So, their sports have been canceled, which takes up a lot of their social life period, but it also gives them a physical outlet. So that has been canceled. They're not allowed to go over to somebody's house. They're not allowed to be in group projects, and they're not allowed this and that. So it really has been super difficult on them, because the way that their brain develops is they're looking for that social connection right now. So I'm seeing, coming through my door, I see lots of anxiety. I'm seeing lots of depression. It's difficult because the only thing that's left for them to do is sit and play video games, and then they play too many video games, and then mom and dad get upset, right? So they're really in a very much a lose-lose situation right now. So they really do have my heart.
And with the less socialization and, like we mentioned, in-person activities canceled, what are some ways that they can kind of change their routine or add things that may help them deal with that?
Right. It's at this point in time, being involved with your family and getting that connection through some family outings is really super important. Not just for the kids, but for the adults too. They're missing that social part. A lot of times when kids are involved in sports or activities, the parents' social life revolves around the group that, if you're into hockey, well, your social life is with the hockey parents, right? So the parents are missing that as well. So it's really important that you start, taking advantage of those nice days that we've had of getting outside, getting some activity. I've always found that, when activity is up, energy is up, mood is up. When activity is down, mood is down. It's a tough thing to do. But really, it's a matter of using their FaceTime and keeping attached to some people in their world is really important.
With your teaching experience, how has it helped you open your practice and deal with teens?
As a teacher, I love teaching. I didn't necessarily love teaching English and social, but I really, really love teaching kids. And what I was finding is that a lot of their mental health was getting in the way of them being really successful. And I also find a lot of kids are just really craving some attachment, someone to actually listen. I think in this busy world that we have really missed out on the fact that to be truly listened to is so honoring. And with our busy worlds, we get we just bang, bang, bang. We're ready to do problem solving. And a lot of times the kids don't need the problem solving. They just want someone to listen to them. And I think that my background in teaching has given me a really good rapport with kids. I'm able to, kind of figure out, and a lot of problems that kids have, spill over into school or start at school. So I think having an understanding of how the school system works, how the counseling system works, how all of those things kind of tie together, we can really wrap around the student to get them the best help that we can, so that everybody is being maximized rather than being overlapped.
And as you've mentioned, you've dealt with kids on both levels. So for parents looking, and if they're wondering how they can help out their child, what should they do?
They really need to just slow life down a little bit and just listen to their kid. A lot of times, like I said, we go into problem solving when they just really just want to be heard and they want to be listened to. They don't want to be judged. They don't want to be told that their ideas are stupid. They don't want to be, made less than what they are. They just really want to explore. The part of the teenage brain is trying to develop new areas and then sort through, figure out which parts we need, and then we start discarding, right? It's like a file system. So a lot of times when kids are asking questions about something that they aren't sure of, the parents get a little panicky because then, if you start asking about drugs, oh my gosh, my kid's into drugs. No, they're just curious and they want some more information. But then the parent will go strictly into problem solving, judgment, everything else, and then the kid will shut down. So it's really important for the parents to learn how to ask those open-ended questions, to invite conversation, to create opportunity for kids to be able to open up to them, and really just be willing to hear what they have to say.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Sharon.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Have a great day.
Joey Langlois from the indie pop band What If Elephants joins us here on Primetime Local News. Joey, you got a new single out right now. Talk about that and what it's all about.
The first single is called Sugar Daddy, and that song is about, it's about a specific, it's about a couple. It's like we're telling a story about these two people that are going obviously through financial distress, and the kind of conclusion that they settle on is like, we can have a lot or we can have just like nothing. But in the end, it's like what we really need is each other. And that's like, the song isn't necessarily describing like the exact situation we've been through, but it's definitely a stress that we manage time to time. I know for myself, especially in the band, it's like there's just times that are tougher. And that's the conclusion that we reached.
For you guys during the pandemic, I know it's obviously been hard to get together in person to keep working on music. So how have you guys managed to, stay creative and still work on your music during this time?
Yeah, pretty quickly we took to online platforms. So there's we do a lot of the music production ourselves. So what that looked like sometimes was just doing a Zoom session if it's just for songwriting. Other times it'd be a combination of like a video call over Zoom, and then there's a software that we can put into our music production program, and that'll send like high quality audio over the internet so that they can hear the full resolution of what we're doing. So I've done a few recording sessions that way, and it actually works surprisingly well. We recorded drums that way, and I didn't even, for like the producer, Lucas Liberator, who helped for Sugar Daddy, we actually never saw each other in person this year, and we finished the track, so it was great.
Joey, give us a little bit of background for our viewers that, may not be familiar with you guys. Who do you guys try to really emulate your sound off of?
Well, definitely starting out like a big mutual, we all had a very mutual admiration for the Canadian band Hey Rosetta, which is also from out east. They just had this really beautiful, eclectic sound of just so many different sonic textures and instruments, and their arrangements were incredible. So we started there, and I've always listened to pop music, so like I didn't really spend much money on music or anything really. Like growing up, we just didn't have much money, so I would listen to whatever's on the radio, and that just kind of like evolved into my adulthood. So I still listen to a lot of pop, but obviously now, like the more I got into music professionally, I just discovered a wider range of and depth of music. And I'd say I'm really fortunate to have Justin, Colin, and Alana, because all of them actually have a musical education. I studied production only, and so they add like all this richness. So yeah, I'm expanding beyond your question, but like I'll go with Hey Rosetta, because that's one that's kind of like really quick to say, and it explains a lot of how our music has evolved.
I know you guys right now are currently working on your new EP. How exciting is it for you guys to finally get the work finished on it, and when's it going to be coming out?
Yeah, so it's been interesting this past year, trying to figure out how to release an EP well in a pandemic. And we're also, we were lucky enough to get the Factor grant, which they assist Canadian artists in developing their essentially their business, like in developing their careers. And so we have funds to work with, but we want to make sure we spend those well. And now all the kind of tried and proven strategies for building a career in the music industry, which are largely carried out in the live performance arena, are kind of just all out of grasp. So we're still like trying to really put together a solid plan for that. At some point, we just kind of have to just dive in and see what happens. So right now we aim to release the EP in April, late April. We are still evaluating though, what is the best way to do that. So we will be giving out more music. We will get more music out there before summer comes around. We just don't know exactly how that's going to look.
Well, Joey, I really appreciate your time. The song Sugar Daddy is available now on all major streaming platforms to have a listen. Joey, thanks a lot for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, Connor.
All right, taking one last look here at your weather forecast. I know we didn't get a chance to take a look at the 7-day, but now as we take a look at it, we are going to see a little bit of warmer temperatures into tomorrow as well. And then, of course, starting Wednesday is when we're going to start to see a lot more cold temperatures, lots of more cold mornings and added wind chill. We could see up to those -30, -40 even temperatures again. There is that snowfall warning right now for the Bonnyville, St. Paul, Cold Lake, Lac La Biche area, and many other parts of northern Alberta that could see up to 20 centimeters of snow expected there. And then also we could see about 3 centimeters of snow throughout the next couple of days here in Lloydminster. -19 Thursday, -24 Friday, -28 there Saturday. It could feel like -40 with the wind there. -19 that we'll see again there on Sunday and on Monday as well, as we start to see those lows get back up to those -25s or higher. And of course on Saturdays when we're going to see probably the coldest day of the week with those -33, especially in the morning to start things off there.
Thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great night.